Hello, my name is Zachariah with Old Man Gaming, and I'm here with another Snap Judgment review. What is a Snap Judgment review if you've never listened before? Well, I think gaming reviews nowadays get too concerned and hung up on finishing games or near 100%ing it. They maybe forget how much fun it is right at the beginning or not. So I play about 5 to 10 hours with the game, and I'm just trying to give you an idea whether you're going to enjoy it right off the bat or not. That, coupled with the fact that I think video games are one of the most subjective forms of art, I will not be giving a score on this review. Instead, I'll be telling you an overall overview of what the game is. Then I'll be telling you a list of pros and cons of the game that come from my point of view, as all reviews are. And then I will tell you whether I personally will be sticking with this game outside the purposes of this DLC, of this content. So without further ado, let's get into it. Today I am reviewing Nightingale. I want to just shout out one more little disclaimer. Nightingale is in early access, and it is very apparent in this. So just keep that in mind, that this game is going to improve, get better, have a lot of changes made to it over the coming years before it actually releases. But what is Nightingale? Nightingale is a survival crafting game, but with a gas lamp, a unique gas lamp setting. The idea behind it is you play this kind of realm walker, this human who can jump from realm to realm, not by willing, but finds portals and jumps into realms of the Fae, which are like magical realms with monsters and different creatures within them, other different weird stuff floating around, and all sorts of mysteries and whatnot. You're kind of like an explorer, but like a Stargate style explorer instead of maybe spaceships like No Man's Sky would offer. Other than that, what you'll do as this character is you will do the normal survival crafting thing. Pick up sticks, pick up rocks, use them to craft things to survive. You have a food meter that you have to replenish every so often by cooking food for yourself. You get recipes as you kind of cook that food. You can also build shelters, homes for yourself that can range to very big. Obviously, I only played about 5 hours with the game, so I didn't really get that experience yet. But what of the interesting things in this is, one of the main things is you're trying to kind of find your way back home. Nightingale is the society of the Realm Walkers that started on, I'm assuming, Earth, though obviously the lore is very sparse in this early access, but you're trying to find your way home by using portals, by finding other portals and using them. What I find really interesting about this is you get these realm cards that allow you to choose the type of realm you're going to, like a different type of biome. Right now in the game, from what I've seen, there's 3, which is the swamp, the forest, and the desert. They have already promised they're going to add new biomes as it comes along. And then you pick modifier cards, like maybe one modifier will give you really strong, powerful monsters to fight in that area. Another one might make it more safe and resource heavy, whatever you want. And then you put those into a little machine when you go to hit the portal, and it generates procedurally your realm. That realm is specific to you. All of the things that you generate in the game realm-wise are specifically inherent to you. Along the way, you'll find some merchants. You use a kind of universal currency called essence, which you get from breaking down items. This essence, however, is also used to fix your weapons, which I do want to talk about a little bit in the cons section when we get there. But you use that also to purchase different recipes from different essence traders that you can find. One of the more interesting things is you can't find everything from the first essence trader. You have to actually find a realm with a different essence trader that might give you different recipes and whatnot, which is very interesting, that you kind of have to realm jump to get newer and better things. This game has co-op up to 6 players. I have not been able to participate in it just because of scheduling. I do have a couple friends who are playing it right now, who I might play with. That being said, you can also find these kind of NPC characters in the game that you can link up with if you do like a small task for them, and then they just become your companions. They follow you around, they mine, they can carry stuff if you give them stuff, and they'll also help you in combat, which you'll find invaluable in this game. And then, of course, the whole time you are guided by Puck, who is this weird, mischievous little fey creature in a goat mask. And it's one of those kind of friend or foe kind of relationships. He's definitely trying to get something out of you, but you're not sure what it is, but you need his help, yada, yada, yada. Very cliched relationship. There's only voice acting for Puck at this point in the game, and it's very well done. So no complaints there whatsoever. The game also is very pretty to look at, as you're probably seeing from the footage here that I have recorded. The music's all right, but I would say one of the big things for me is just how early access this game is. And again, we'll get to that a little bit more in the pros and cons. But that's basically what this game is right now. It's very bare bones at this point, and I'm sure that there is more stuff to unlock and see as I get into the game. I can see the potential blooming out in front of me, but for right now, it's just a survival crafting game that kind of reminds me of both No Man's Sky and Grounded. It really reminds me of Grounded when Grounded first launched, because it was a rough early access title that they were constantly working on and using our feedback to make better, and that worked out really well for Obsidian and Grounded. Will it work out here? I'm not sure, but this is a discounted title. It is $30. I'm not sure if the sale's still going on, but they had a launch sale for 10% off, so I got this game for $26. I've definitely gotten $26 worth of it, so there's that. But there is, like I said, plenty of bugs and issues. I want to talk about something else, though, before we get into the pros and cons, because I wasn't quite sure where to put this. Because for me, it's kind of a con, but at the same time, given the genre of the game, I'm not sure if I even should be complaining about it. So, this game is created by a new dev studio called Inflection, with an X. This studio is comprised almost wholly of ex-BioWare developers. Now, BioWare is known for personal relationships with NPCs, really good relationships with them. I mean, I think the first time I truly experienced romance in a video game was Mass Effect series. And I think that makes it difficult for me to not mention that the NPCs in this game are like empty nothings. They are quest givers at best. They have very little to say or do. The essence traders are just there so that you can get more stuff. There's no real conversation here. There's no real interaction. And while I was really excited to be able to recruit companions in this, the companions are the most empty companions I've ever seen. You can't even have a conversation with them. Basically, all you can do is move stuff to their inventory, change up their equipment so that they're either stronger or weaker, and or they do a different job depending on what tool you give them, and that's it. They're like automatons that follow you around. Look, I'm not expecting like full-blooded romance scenes with procedurally generated characters here, but even Watch Dogs Legion had like a procedurally generated little story blurb about every person you could recruit or run into. Some sort of flavor on these, companions would be real nice. Some sort of small conversation nodes would be really cool. Even if they could just give us small advice, like, hey, what do you think we should do? I've got this character, Theodore, is following me around, which is really cool, but, like, they feel like a dog. Not even, because I could pet a dog. Like, again, this could be something that's planned. This is super early access. This might be something that ends up making the final finished product. I'm choosing to review this when it first released. But I cannot help but notice that a group of developers founded a studio, developers that are known for personal relationships with NPCs, and the game has like almost no NPC interaction whatsoever. I mean, other than Puck, Puck's very cool, but even Puck, there's no interaction there. He just tells you stuff, and you have to do stuff for him. Like, that's it. So I was very surprised by this. I am hoping this is something that does get added to the final product, but, and again, the survival crafting gear is known for its lack of NPCs. It's much more about you versus the elements. That's kind of how these games are presented. It's just, for me, I thought this was a game that could bridge the gap, where we got some more interesting NPC interaction with the survival crafting elements, but yet we did not. So I've got to point it out here. And I don't know if it's fair to even point it out, but I've got to. But let's go into the pros and cons. So right off back, pros, I have got to say, I love the setting. Nobody's doing a gas lamp setting. They nail it with this. There is a lot of prettiness to it, and it definitely gives you this weird kind of... for me, it wasn't even necessarily gas lamp. It was like old school explorer, you know, like not even like Indiana Jones, but your old school, like, hark, hark, I shall explore the wilds, you know, that kind of character, because that's how I felt in this game. There's really a sense of wonder that they present in the worlds that I really enjoy. That's the part that reminds me of No Man's Sky. Is No Man's Sky, when I would land on a planet, I felt like exploring the world and really getting into it. I do want to say, so far, there is kind of a downside of there's a lot of these structures that you can see and find in Nightingale. I have not seen a lot of them be able to interact with you in any way, shape, or form. They're just kind of like assets stuck there, which is a little bit irritating so far. That being said, early access, they could be about to add stuff to it. I hope they do. But for right now, there is a lot of like, why is this statue here? There's no reason for it. There's no quest attached to it. There's no chest to be earned. There's no mystery here. There's just a statue, which I found a little bit irritating. Obviously, I should probably be discussing that in the pros, but it's just so tied into this. Still, this world made me want to run around in it, which is really exciting. And it continues to make me want to run around in it. My next kind of pro, I have got to say, is the way they do the text. The speech and the dialogue stuff to you, I absolutely love. So, most games do it across the bottom of the screen. This game, like, basically takes, like, vertically a chunk of your screen out. So you can still see you and the person you're talking to, and then the text. What I absolutely love about this is you can see all the text prior of what they've said to you. So when they're going on long-winded, and you maybe forget a detail, you can read up and see it. Man, I cannot tell you how much I love this. And I don't have to go back into a journal or something. I can just look right next to me and see it while they're talking and see the entire conversation instead of just like chunks of it. Again, one of the reasons I'm so bummed that I can't interact with these NPCs in any way is it seems like they have just a great infrastructure for delivering those kind of informations or those kind of conversations, but there isn't any to speak of yet. And then I really enjoy the tree cutting in this game. I know that's crazy to say, but the way you cut down trees and the way the trees take the damage sparsely is just really cool. Plus, if the tree falls on you, it actually causes damage, which I thought was really cool, just from a guy who's cut trees down before perspective. I think the tree cutting was... I actually really enjoyed the tree cutting, which is just weird. I mean, I am a guy who enjoys Lawnmower Simulator on occasion, so tree cutting, a Lumberjack Simulator is not a far cry for me, I guess. Alright, so that's kind of it for the pros. I know that that's not a lot, but again, early access. And we've got to talk about some stuff in the cons that just can't go without things. And I want to point out before I do this, a lot of this is quality of life stuff that's going to get added, corrected, or put in some way, shape, or form as this game continues along its early access roadmap. I mean, that's what early access is for. So a lot of the stuff I'm going to say is just stuff that I'm sure they will add eventually. They just haven't gotten around to it. But a couple of those right off the bat is when you're in an Essence Trader and you're playing with a controller, you can't use the controller to skip around to the Essence things. At least if you can, I haven't found a way to do it. I have to switch to my mouse to actually purchase stuff with an Essence Trader. Another one is there's no way to pin a receipt, a recipe. So like if I want to craft, let's say, the sling bow and I want to see on the top of my screen what I need to craft that, I can't pin the recipe so that I know how close I am to getting everything, which a lot of these other games with resource gathering have that. I'm expecting them to add something along these lines eventually. There's no weight bar on your main HUD to know how heavy you are. Just all of a sudden he will grunt and there'll be a little red text that says you're weighed down by your equipment. It's a little bit frustrating. I want to see like how close I am to being overweight and stuff like that. Pal World has that. I want that in a game like this, especially a game where I have to collect resources. I don't want to have to constantly go into my inventory screen to see if I'm overweight or not. Again, these are all quality of life stuff. I expect them all to be fixed. Like, I expect them all to come up. I do want to say, though, combat is not working for me, which is a bummer. Again, this could get a little bit better, but the way combat works is they have it in this real time, but it is very herky-jerky. It's hard to know when you're blocking, hard to know when you're defending, hard to know when you're taking a shot correctly. The bad guys just very sporadically run around. They don't really have any rhyme or reason to them. Like, not even like it's hard, just not logically. They just go crazy and swing stuff all over the place. There's a boss that I fought right off the bat that, like, I could not even begin to understand the correct way to fight this thing. It just would teleport to wherever I was, hit me with a laser, burn me half to death, no matter what I did. So I have no idea if that's what they meant. Then that's a little bit weak in my opinion, because I just had to rely on my companion reviving me so that I could just keep pounding on the thing and hope that I outlasted it, which is not interesting or cool to me. They do have like a dodge or block mechanic. Like if you're using a heavy two-handed weapon, you're using a block. If you're using a small one-handed weapon, you can dodge, which I did really appreciate. But like, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff here that I wish was a little bit crisper, a little bit more concise. And I'm not sure. One of the big reasons I want to point this out, and I'm not sure how much better this is going to get as they improve it. Because for me, Grounded was a decent combat system to start. They improved on it. This one is real rough to me. It is not my favorite part of the game. Far from it. Especially the way they also do this, like, your weapons on one side, your special equipment on the other. You have like two quick bars, and you press like left to get to your weapons, right to get to your special tools. But you can't push, like, so you have to scroll through all five to get back around to get to the one you want. It makes quick selection real difficult when I have to literally click through every one of my weapons to get to the weapon I want, or every one of my special items to get to the healing salve. Makes it a little bit hard to use in combat. And again, this is PC, so maybe they were just expecting most people to play with mouse and keypad. I appreciate that there's controller options here, but I don't know. Combat's just not doing it for me. My final complaint is my biggest complaint, other than combat, which is this game requires an SSD, solid state drive, which is the fastest loading hard drive you can have. It requires that you download it on that. And the loading time is astronomical. Astronomical when you first load into the game. When you start up Nightingale, you are looking at a 2-minute wait till you actually get into your realm and can start doing stuff, which just blows my mind. Many times I thought it had crashed, and it hadn't. It's just, for that to be on an SSD and it to do that. And look, the graphics are really good scenery-wise. There's still plenty of, like, it's not photorealistic, not even close. So I don't know. That bugged me a lot. I feel like that loading time should be way better if it's on an SSD, especially for what this game is and how big it is. So that's just a little bit frustrating. Finally, I know this has been a long-winded review, but we get to whether or not I'm going to stick with it. Yes, I am enjoying it. I think it has a lot of potential. I really want to see where they go and what they decide to add to it. I think if they kind of go back to their roots and really flesh out the NPCs a little bit better, I would appreciate it. That would be my first request from Nightingale, I guess. But I would also like a slightly better combat system. I do like the way they do crafting. I do like that there isn't a separate thirst and hunger meter. It's just hunger, so I don't have to worry about also drinking water every so often, which gets tedious. And you can also get your companion to help you with stuff, which is nice in one of these very tedious survival games. I do want to warn anybody about to start it, though. Progression is real slow. It takes you very long to get the things you want and get into the places that you want. And it is a lot of picking up sticks, picking up rocks, putting those rocks together, building a wall. Like, it is very grindy. If that is something you are into, more power to you. If you're a survival crafting aficionado, I don't think you're going to be let down by this game. With the exception of the fact that, like I said, it's early access. But if you're somebody who does not want the grind, who does not want to be picking up sticks a good portion of the time, you might want to steer clear of this, because you don't even have your pals like in Pal World to help you. This is just you picking up sticks and cutting down trees for some time until you get the stuff you need. Keep that in mind. But I'm going to stick with it. I'm even going to start streaming it on my lunch stream for a little while, see how that goes. Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? Tell me in the comments below. Other than that, you guys can reach me on Facebook at OldManGamingDH, on Twitter at OldManGaming9. You can join our Discord. Links in the description below. Influence us in all of our shows from there. As long as you guys keep watching and listening, we'll keep making them. See you guys next time.